The population of a colony of frogs rises and falls according to the breeding season. The population can be modeled by the equation PT. PT equals 100 sine of pi t over 2 plus 500, where t is the number of months since the beginning of the year. First of all, calculate the population at the beginning of the year and the first time at which the population is the greatest. So the moment it says greatest, we're looking at maximum, minimum, and you know how we work with minimums and maximums. We use a derivative. Just to give you a quick idea how what this graph is all about. If I quickly think about what's happening with this graph looks like this. It's a sine graph. Sine graph, it moved up 500, and then the amplitude is 100. It's a sine graph, so the sine graph looks like this. Okay, so that's how the graph looks like. The middle is going to be at 500. That's going to be at 400, and the top is going to be at 600. Okay, so what we want to know, we say the population at the beginning of the year. Population at the beginning of the year is pretty straightforward. That is where time equals 0, that equals 100. Sine of pi times 0 over 2 plus 500, that equals, the sine of 0 is 0, times 100 is 0, plus 500 is 500. Don't take this for granted. Don't take for granted that this is it. Because if this is cos, the cos of 0 is 1. So it would have been 100 plus 500. So just be very careful when you calculate at the beginning. So that was A. For B, we're going to look at the first time when it is. So I want to know what's it there. So what I'm going to do is, I know it's there, but I have to show all my working. My first derivative is where my gradient is 0, where my first derivative is 0. So I have to find the first derivative of there. Now what's the first derivative? It's 100 multiplied by the sine of something is the cos of something, multiplied by the derivative of the something, and the derivative of that something is pi over 2. The 500 falls away because there's no variable, and therefore there's nothing. So that is the derivative. Simplify that. 2 goes off once in 150 times. It gives me 50 pi cos of pi t over 2. Right. Now I say minimum or maximum, therefore, minimum maximum is where this 50 pi cos of pi t over 2 equals 0. So where that thing equals 0. In other words, that is where if I divide both sides by 50 pi, 0 divided by 50 pi is nothing, so it's where the cos of pi t over 2 equals 0. Now the cos of an angle is 0. Where's the cos of an angle 0? I'm going to say the cos graph looks like this. The cos is 0 there and there, which is pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2. Okay, so what does that give me? I'm just going to move up here so we have space to write. So what it means is that this angle, that pi t over 2 must equal pi over 2, or pi t over 2 must equal 3 pi over 2. Therefore, I'm going to multiply both sides with 2, they cancel, divide both sides with pi, so t equals 1, or 2 cancel, pi cancel, t equals 3. Now I know that that means that that is 1 and that is 3. I know that, but I have to show it. How do I show which one is minimum or maximum? Yes, you said it. I'm going to have my slope table, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to say this is t at 0, t at 1, t at 2, t at 3, and t at 4. I'm going to say, what's my gradient? Who knows if you show that? I know that my gradient there is going to be positive. I know that my gradient is 0 there. I know that my gradient is going to be coming down between the two, it's negative. At 3 it is 0. At 4 it is positive again. Positive gradient is, so this is my slope, positive, 0, negative, 0, positive. So 1 time at 1 is a maximum. There's the maximum because it's turning. And t at 3 equals a minimum. So the first maximum time the population is the greatest, and you're going to write in words, population is the greatest, 1 month after the start. And that will be your final answer.